Hey there, Scott. How are you today? I'm sitting here with Scott Perry, and we have been just chatting about this awesome book that he wrote, NFL since 1970. And Scott, tell me about this book. I mean, tell all of us about it because those of us that like NFL, love NFL. I love
Okay,
football, but I don't get
this
into the stats. So
book
take
is
it
for
away.
this is book for everybody. I thought of this book idea as a kid, and it's just came to fruition finally. So it's been really, really cool. Um, so I love the Broncos, and I became a fan early on, and it's just a labor of love that I've done. So I was not a fan when I first lived in Denver back in '75. My dad went to the last Floyd Little game, and I was 9, so I had no desire to even follow the sport. But I moved upstate New York, and I discovered a TV show on HBO called Inside the NFL, and hosted by Nick Bonacani, who's passed away, and Len Dawson. I think he's still around. He was the Chiefs quarterback for Super Bowl IV. Well, the whole thing is Steve and Ed Sable were completely, they were promoting the sport, and they just got me hook, line, and sinker. They put every week's highlights to heart pounding slow motion video, and it was just crazy. I said, wow, what is this? So I did the decision to make it, and living upstate New York, I'm near the Bills, but I had lived in Denver. So I had to make a decision. Am I going to be a Bills fan or am I going to be a Bronco fan? And I
Ooh,
picked
tough.
Broncos. So I'm about 11 years old at that point. So that's pretty late these days to become a football fan. Kids are seemingly younger and younger.
After a young age.
Yeah. So I picked the Broncos, and I'm living. Boy, when you're living out of the Denver area and you're a Bronco fan, I'm sure people that are watching have experienced that at some point. It's for me, I wanted stuff on my wall, so I have to go through Sports Illustrated. It'd be a picture of a football player, and in the background there'd be a Bronco player. So I would cut it out, and it would be an incidental Bronco picture that made my little collage. I think I made, because if you don't live in Denver, I just spent part of the day Saturday with Randy Gradishar for a couple hours. I did a book signing, and he was doing some autograph signing, and he should be in the Hall of Fame, but he's a victim of playing west of the Mississippi, I guess, and not on the east, not on the West Coast. So he's not in the Hall of Fame where he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. So that's my point. No coverage of football. So my parents just we left Denver. I moved up to upstate New York. My dad, in the meantime, moved to the Boston area, to Watertown, and I was up there on a spring break one year. And I love to tell a story. I just added this to my story about 6 months ago, but we're up there. He took me to Fenway to see Nolan Ryan pitch for the Angels back then.
Yeah.
And baseball, I became a Mets fan living on Long Island first, back about '77. Lee Mazzilli, Dave Kingman were my original sports idols. But so we're watching this baseball game. We leave early. I'm not that into it, I guess, but we're walking behind Fenway. And behind Fenway, of course, have you been there, Marni?
I have never been, no.
No. There's this is 1979. This is 21 years ago, but there was a big concession stand there, and he says, "Why don't you go pick out a hat?" And I embellish it. It's 41 years ago, but it's really not that far from reality. So I turn the corner, and there's a wall of hats, and there's a divine light shining in the top row, and it's a Bronco trucker hat with a D, and it said AFC champions. They had won the AFC championship with Gradishar 2 years earlier. So I thought, wow.
Wait, so what year did you say?
1979.
79. Okay.
So you remember that season?
Fast forward though how do you got to this book? I want to know how you got to this book.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. So here's the cover. Let me get some practice in and take into the next page that matters here.
Yeah.
So that trip, my dad invited me to move back to Denver with him. So 2 years later, in '81, the plane lands, and I am a crazy fan. So let's quickly go to. I gotta throw my glasses on here.
I love the divine light that was shining on the Bronco.
That awesome. It was just
my dad will appreciate that a lot.
Step of my. So this is my first year being a Bronco fan and living in Denver. So there's the combination. Now I'm a Bronco fan. I'm 14 and I'm living in Denver. So we look at this and we see that Denver. This is the book. Every season from '70 till today, which is now includes 50 seasons. So this book is 10 years old. I've updated every season.
I'm just going to hold this up there while people can kind of see what you've got on the screen, but also this is the book. So yeah, you can go.
if it, so
1981.
1980, the 1980, the Bengals helmet, you see that in the Central Division, that helmet said Bengals on it. And they were 2 years in a row, they were last place. They put the stripes on. This is just an ironic page.
Where are you? Oh, I see the middle there. Okay.
See that? And then they went to the Super Bowl. They beat the Bills, they beat the Chargers, and they lost to Joe Montana. So this is the visual of all 50 seasons. Kids learn the helmets because the next year, if a team changed the face mask color, let alone a helmet, I changed it so people could get an idea of what it looks like. So this is the first page of, I opened the book and it's 1970 looking like this. Well, here we are in 1981. So I moved here in 81 to Denver. And of course I jinxed them because Denver went to Buffalo during that season and lost to the Bills in Buffalo 9-7. You see, they're both 10-6 because Denver beat them. They won the tiebreaker and they went to New York to play the Jets.
So were they the wild card then?
Wild card team. So Denver tied with the Chargers, but the Chargers had a better conference record. So Denver finished second. And if they hadn't lost to Buffalo, they would have been the team that went to New York, or New York would have come here. And that's ironic because early 81, the plane lands, my dad gets me the first preseason ticket. So the first possible game I'm at, which is a big deal for me because I love Dan Reeves. That was the first time he ever walked the sideline in his career.
Oh my gosh, Dan Reeves, yeah.
So it's really a cool scenario that's how that happened. So Jets killed them. I have pictures of me in Jets pajamas growing up. I'm on Long Island. I wasn't a Jets fan, but I'm just glad they weren't Giants pajamas because I'm
right. Well, tell me, like, how do because Broncos, okay, with all the influx that's going on in Denver and all the people that have moved here, we have so many natives that have left because of the crowding, and it's just kind of such a melting pot now. So you either love the Broncos or you hate them, I think. And so how do they stack up with all of your stats that you have? I mean, how are they as a team, or how have they shown up as a team?
Well, do you want me to skip ahead to the current situation with them?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead too much. I'm sorry. I'm just so curious because I think they're better than a lot of people think they've been.
Let me go to the 85 page. So we saw 81. So 85,
yeah.
Now I just got out of high school and I said, okay, I've experienced 5 seasons and I have.
You just aged yourself, by the way.
Yeah, I know, huh?
85 rocks. That's my year. 85, baby.
Cool.
Okay.
So by 85, now I'm 19. I lived here 5 years. I'd see 0 Bronco playoff wins. So I decided in January of 86, my dad had up and left and moved to Florida. So I had a decision: take my golden retriever and move back to my mom's in Rochester, or find a place. And I found a place near Clement Park. I've been in the Littleton area most of my life. So how do I get over the fact that I'm so depressed about, I know I'm a fan of a good team, right? But no playoff wins over these 5 seasons. So I sat down. I mean, there was computers in January 86, but I didn't have access to one. So I had to manually sit down. You see 1970, 1985, there's 28 teams. So I sat down and added up every NFL team's games over the 15 seasons. So it was a lot of work, but the end was, you see, there's 28 teams. The Saints are the worst. They've won 31% of their games. You see, that's based on winning percentage. Do you catch that?
Yeah, I see that.
So out of the 28 teams, a quarter of them have a better winning percentage. Just a quarter of them have a better winning percentage than the Broncos. So that's why I did it. I did that to feel better, and it worked out. It's just an organic book. I didn't cook the books at all. There's just so many fun Bronco facts. It's really, really amazing. Now I'm living in the best NFL city. I'm creating a book. I didn't know this back in 86, that I was creating a book. I was just trying to feel better myself. And that was the start. I said, well, if I can't get a playoff win, at least I know that when my team takes the field at Mile High or even on the road, that they have a better chance of winning than 3/4 of the NFL.
Right.
So that's the start of it right there. So now you see the helmets as they first appear in the book are stacked. Go back to that. You see them so the first Dolphins are on the top and the Saints are on the bottom. So first there was 26 teams, and then there was 28 teams, and then there's been a variation between 28 and 32. And they're all stacked as they first appear in the book. So you see the Vince Lombardi inspired Redskin helmet. You see a Washington football team helmet. You see that there?
Yeah, I do.
Lombardi went to the Redskins for 1 season, and he gave them their first, in 69, he was their head coach. He gave them their first winning season since 55. And that was the 69 season. By 70, he was dead from cancer. So that's was pretty sad that that's what happened to him. But he instilled a winning mentality in just the 1 year he was in in Washington coaching. So just all that kind of quirky stuff here. So the beauty of it, I put in here. So when you flip all pages, you watch your favorite team's helmet go up or down based on how they rank.
Oh, I see. So I'm going to, because it might be easier for me. So you're saying this right here. So all the helmets, so as I go page by, I should go this way, I mean, but as I go year by year, I can just see the helmet change.
Yeah, example, you pick the bright yellow Packer helmet or the bright yellow Redskin.
Wait, I keep seeing Miami up at the top everywhere I'm going. What the heck? 19.
That's I love Miami. Yes. So in 2009, I made the book for the first time. A guy at my church said, "Here's your book," and every helmet was a Cardinal helmet. I had to manipulate every helmet into place myself. That took me months.
Oh, wow. So how long have you worked on this book? You started it when?
2009. So this is my 10th season of updating it.
Okay. And so how you can cross-reference, and I bet this gets a lot of attention, when you're at a game or whatever, if you want to start talking stats.
I do a lot of book signings at the malls over the holidays, and people look at it for 4 seconds. They say, my Eagle fan buddy has got to have this book. And I have a little case that I carry around, and in it, it's got a page for every NFL team. So I can insert random facts every Jaguar fan should know. It's hard to find Jaguar gifts for people. So that's the right.
Okay, well, here, you made this book for me, and I'm so appreciative. Thank you. This is going to go to my daddy. Ooh, I hope he's not watching. He now knows. But anyway, this one, it was done for the Broncos. And let's see I'm just going to pull one out of here. It says, wait, what's the difference between is any difference, the green or the blue and the red? I mean, no. the blue and the orange, I'm sorry.
Just a way to separate the facts, that's all.
Okay. Has not won less than 4 games or earned the first pick in the draft. Steelers and Packers are the only teams that also claim that feat since 1970 and excludes 9 game strike seasons of 1982.
Yeah,
Who would know that? Now they do.
Exactly. It's again, it's for hardcore fans, but it's also good for people that just moved to Denver and the brainwashing process is started subliminally. But this is a way to really delve into. You learn the history of every team because it's a comparison of the Broncos. The goal is to see the Broncos get to the number 1 spot. So here we are.
Yes,
I'm feeling a semi-happy ending here by showing this page. Boy, there's very few errors in the book, but I did create one on this last page from kickoff 1970 till today. Denver got to the number 2 spot. So Denver was the worst place in America to be a fan of the home pro football team from 60 to 69. So in 70, when this book starts, it's not just for that reason. 70 is when the merger happened, when all the teams started playing each other. Half were AFL, half were NFL. Right. But in 70, they became AFC versus NFC. Super Bowl 5 was the first Super Bowl with an AFC versus an NFC opponent. So I bring that up because it's just that's the start of the book. So from kickoff 70 until today, you see over here at the compilation page, you see the Broncos are on 4th, but over here I forgot. It was really my mistake. It wasn't intentional. I kept the Bronco helmet at 3rd. When you see over here, they should be 4th, and the Patriots for the first time.
It should be a different helmet. There's a different, yeah.
No. This is on purpose. This is so you can keep the same helmet from 70 till the present. So you the same helmet, but over here it should be the current helmet that they wore that recent season. So, but they are 4th winningest team. So that's the joy of me having done this. That they went from being the worst football team, so they're within shot of getting to that number 1 spot. So.
How do you think they're going to do? Speaking of that, they got a young team. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm a historian. This book is all passion, serious football passion. I can't use my head in anything. It's all Raiders are going to lose, Broncos are going to win. So if anybody I go on with Sandy Clough locally here. I hope he's not going to ask me about the coming game because I don't have anything intelligent to say. It's just once it gets in this book, I'm an expert of all 32 franchises. I can create that page and I can tell you what's going on. I have a hierarchy in my bedroom or my basement. Where the Broncos are almost at the ceiling and the Raiders are almost on the floor, and I make a diamond shape of my hierarchy of how much I love teams. When I discovered that TV show on HBO, I had some reason popped in my head to really dislike the dominant teams at the 79 mark since the merger, and really love all the bad teams. That's why I'm a big Saints fan. They put bags over their heads. Their fans did for the 1980 season. They only had 1 win. So I'm pretty adamant about who I root for and who I don't want to see have success. There's not a lot of teams I root for adamantly, but there's the teams that were really good.
Who's been the most winning team? I'm sure people know that. I have no clue. Who's the most winningest team? Oh,
Right here.
that
So
was
this, yeah.
throughout.
So there's all these Steeler fans and Cowboy fans. So just going into last season, before the 19th season, we look at Dallas could have won all of their games and Pittsburgh could have lost all their games, and Pittsburgh still would have been by 4 games the winningest, have the best winning percentage of all the games kicked off since the merger. So again,
So
7
far
years.
ahead.
Yeah. So, and starting this century, the Patriots were at the number 21 spot. Look where the Charger helmet is above the Saint helmet. That's where Tom Brady started. And when he left, he had him at the number 3 spot, even better than the Broncos, who have always been up there. But so you mentioned the Dolphin helmet being number 1. This is their lowest point of the 50 seasons. That's pretty incredible if you think about that. That's all Don Shula, pretty much. The inertia he created, and this team is, even as bad as they've been, they're still.
Well, this is where I was looking at. I was looking at this up here on this page, and it was like it's
from 84 to 09.
Yeah.
84.
So Scott, if I know you're going to be like at some signings, and where could they get this book if they can't come and see you in person? But where can they come and see you?
I just found a place, a root beer bar, that's going to have me speak on the first Saturday of every month, and I would just like to do book signings and just talk. If you can anybody wants to bring a group of fans of any team, and if you have a bunch of Texans fans that want to come hear the history of the team, which isn't very long, but
so funny. I literally, when you said that, I just opened up that page. Didn't you say Texans?
Yeah, isn't that funny? Yeah, it's in Littleton. It's the Old Crow Antique Mall at Kipling and Bowles. It used to be an Albertsons and Jump Street. So I'll be at the root beer bar, and I'll be signing books. And if someone can just email me and say, Scott, I'm going to bring the Bronco fans in my neighborhood. We want to hear, because this book, I'm just scratching the surface here. This book has so many facts. I mean, the last page. Would you have time to talk about the last page?
Yeah, give me the last page. Hang on, I'm going to switch there. You have. Let me see. Can you put it up on your screen? Actually, I can just hold it here too. Pat Bowlen tribute. This.
No, it's not the Pat Bowlen page. Unfortunately, it used to be.
Okay, let's see here. Oh, sorry. I gotta get to my pages stick in here. Here we go. One final stat. Is that the one?
See,
you got it. One final stat. Yeah, there you go.
This is it. This is a young fan who persevered and said, I want to make a book. I remember meeting my wife in 2005 and say, I'm going to create a book. And even at that point, I didn't know how I was going to do it, because it wasn't going to look like it does. I didn't want to use the text of, I'm a purist. Back when I became a football fan, I'm like, I want the league to look like it does back in 1978. And it did, and teams would move, and it made me really angry. So I used, it's a little bit strong, but anyway, the book is using the helmets represent the teams. Okay. So
right.
If they change the helmets, I change them, and that's how to avoid having to change the city names or the nickname changes.
Right. Oh, right. Okay.
Okay. So now what we're looking at here is every decade since 1970. So January ended the 5th complete decade since the merger. So again, my statistics. So you're looking at this page, you can see it in the 70s. Denver was the 8th best team. In the 80s, 1 game behind Miami. So the 80s Miami Vice. That's ironic. We could have been top 3 if we'd won 1 more game and tied or been ahead of them. The 90s, 2 championships. We were the 8th best team out of 30. The 2000s, 2010s, I was like this when I made the last decade, because we were so horrible at the end.
And now we're not. Isn't that awesome? That's what you're saying. It's not as bad as you thought.
Able to uncover my eyes and say, yes, we didn't drop out of the top 8 for any decade. Only Bronco fans can say this. Every decade since the merger, we are the most consistent winning football team in overall 50 seasons. So each decade, we're on average 6.5 or 7 of all the rankings of each decade taken as a time period. So it's pretty awesome to have that to say over Pittsburgh fans, who have a pretty good lead over us right now, but that's temporary, because we're going to pass Pittsburgh, New England, and Dallas and get to that number 1 spot.
Yeah.
It is frustrating. It wasn't at the 50th anniversary, but that's okay. I have motivation to keep going then. And my daughter's 8. She's got to develop a love so she can keep this going. But
right, keep it going. Your daughter, love it. Well, this is cool. I hadn't actually looked at this page yet. I love this page.
Isn't that cool? It shows you how these teams kicked off in 70, so you won't see any teams that weren't around in 70 to have a level playing field to get to this statistic. So
well, I know when I met you and you showed me this book, it was so nice to have you kind of just go over it. It helps so much, because if you just get this book, and again, if you're not, I mean, I'm sure if I was a total fan, I mean, I knew all the stats kind of anyway, and I followed that, then it would be a lot easier for me. But just picking it up and looking at it, it was a little harder for me to understand exactly. But then once you went through it, it really helps. So again, I encourage people, if they're watching this, go to see you, reach out. Oh, there's a website too?
Yeah, I'm going to give my email and the website. They can read my blog. I'm trying to blog for every team's history, so every team will have a historic blog there. But
And I'll put that, we'll have that available for everybody too.
Okay, great. So Scott at NFLsince1970.com, and then NFLsince1970.com is the website. And they can email me, and I like to, I make this in my basement. I don't have it available anywhere really. I haven't got any retail places right now that have it. Maybe it might be in Lowry soon. It's my starting off point here. So,
nice.
But that's.
Well, I want to see you. So I just want to get this book out there. I want to see it super successful, and you keep going with this, and then have your daughter take it on. That'd be fun. What's your daughter's name?
Eva. Actually, Eva, come here.
Eva,
camera.
take this on.
Here to say hi.
Come here, Eva. She's being shy.
She has part of her day on Zoom. She should not have a shy bone in her body.
Fear of Zoom.
She's wearing her.
Hey there, Eva. How are you? So you're going to be taking over this NFL book for your dad, huh?
Not for a couple decades, but we'll see. My goal is to make it to Super Bowl 100 and watch that. So I was born the year the Super Bowl started, so we'll see how that goes.
Perfect. Well, I thank you again, Scott, for taking time today, and look forward to seeing what goes on with this book, and I really appreciate it.
Great. So they can look up Foam Finger Nation as a way to hear me as a podcast guest talking about different historic topics, and
Finger Nation. Okay.
NFLsince1970.com to stay in touch and see my blog.
Sounds great. Really appreciate it. Hope your day's great.
Awesome. Thanks again so much,
Thanks
Marni.
again.